If your Mini's fuel economy has dropped, an air filter might be one of the first things you've considered. But here's the problem. DOE researchers tested modern fuel-injected vehicles with clogged air filters, and in the vehicles they tested, found no significant fuel economy effect. Replacing the filter could improve acceleration. That's real. But fuel economy? The engine computer compensates automatically, which means you could replace the filter, drive away expecting your MPG to come back, and see virtually no difference. So, if that's not where your answer is, where should you look? That's exactly what we're going through. 7 things to check before you start spending money on parts. And some of the first ones cost absolutely nothing. Number 7, tire pressure. It sounds almost too basic to explain a noticeable drop in fuel economy, but this one has hard numbers behind it. Underinflated tires flex more and create more rolling resistance, so the engine has to work harder to move the car. And a tire can be below the recommended pressure without looking obviously flat. That's why the gauge matters. The figures come from the US Department of Energy. Correct tire pressure improves fuel economy by about 0.6% on average, and by as much as 3% in some cases. Going the other way, every 1 psi drop in average pressure across all 4 tires costs roughly 0.2%. So, here's the check. Look at the placard inside the driver's door. That's your Mini's specification. Do not use the maximum pressure molded into the tire sidewall. That's the tire's limit, not the pressure Mini is telling you to run. And check them cold before you've driven on them. First thing in the morning works well because tire pressure rises as the tires warm up. Check them hot and you can end up setting them too low. Set all 4 correctly. Then don't rely solely on what the dashboard tells you. Fill the tank. Note the odometer. Drive normally. Fill it again and divide the miles traveled by the fuel you've put back in. Why bother? Because your trip computer is useful for trends, but it's still an estimate. When AAA tested in-car fuel economy displays, one 2019 Mini Cooper displayed 36.0 miles per gallon, while measured consumption was 33.8. That's a 6.4% overestimate on that particular car. I'm not saying yours is wrong by 6.4%. I'm saying measure the real number before you start buying parts to fix it. If correcting the pressures moves that number, you found at least part of your problem. If the pressures were already correct, good. You've ruled something out without buying a thing. Number 6, fuel specification. This gets argued about constantly. One side says premium fuel is always better. The other says it's a con. Neither rule works across every Mini. Your engine was calibrated for a particular fuel specification, and the specification that matters is the one for your car. Your model year, your market. Here's how specific this gets. In the 2024 US manual for the F55 and F56, the Cooper's recommended fuel is AKI 91, with AKI 87 listed as the minimum. The John Cooper Works recommends AKI 93, with AKI 91 as the minimum. Same Mini family, different specification, and recommended and minimum aren't the same thing. Those are US AKI figures from that particular manual. If you're in the UK, your manual expresses the fuel specification differently. So don't use your neighbor's Mini. Don't use somebody's answer from a forum thread about a different model year. Open the manual for your own car. Find the fuel specification and compare it with what you've actually been buying. If you've been running below your car's specification, correct it. Will that automatically restore all of your missing MPG? I'm not promising that. But when you're investigating a change in fuel economy, you want the car operating on the fuel it was designed for before you start blaming components. That's another variable eliminated. Number 5. Auto Start Stop. This one costs nothing if your Mini is equipped with it. Auto Start/Stop switches the engine off when you come to a suitable stop and restarts it when you're ready to move. Its purpose is straightforward. Reduce the fuel being used while the car is sitting still. Whether your Mini has the system depends on its model year and specification, so check your manual rather than assuming. Now, plenty of drivers switch it off. That's their choice. But suppose you previously left it on, then started switching it off, and most of your driving involves traffic lights and junctions. You've changed the amount of time the engine spends idling. Nothing necessarily failed. Something about the way the car is operating changed. And that's an important distinction. I can't give you one neat MPG figure for auto start/stop because its effect depends on how much time you actually spend stopped. If most of your driving is motorway or interstate, there aren't many opportunities for it to work anyway. So, check 3 things. Does your Mini have it? Is it currently active? And did that change around the same time your fuel economy changed? Because now we're getting to something owners often overlook. Sometimes the thing that changed isn't actually the car. Cold weather is a perfect example. The US Department of Energy gives us useful figures here. For a conventional gasoline car in city driving, fuel economy is roughly 15% lower at 20 degrees Fahrenheit than at 77. And on short trips of 3 to 4 miles, it can be as much as 24% lower. Think about what that means. You can see a substantial MPG change without needing a mechanical fault to explain that particular effect. A cold engine is inefficient until it warms up. And on a 4-mile journey, it barely gets the chance. Then look at everything else that might have changed. Trip length, traffic, speed, how much stop-start driving you're doing, different tires, a roof box, a bike rack, extra weight, road conditions, more climate control use. I'm deliberately not giving you neat percentages for all of those because the effect depends on your car and how you're using it. Instead, ask one question. What changed? New job and a shorter commute. More short local journeys. Different tires last autumn. Bike rack still fitted after summer? Winter arrived? If the answer is quite a lot changed, don't immediately assume your Mini is developing an expensive fault. Account for the conditions first. Then we move into the areas where spending money becomes possible. Number 4, spark plugs. And this is where a fuel economy complaint can start costing owners money unnecessarily. Spark plugs are maintenance items. Your Mini's service schedule tells you when they're due for your particular car. That's the number that matters, because the schedule isn't identical across every Mini. But there's an important distinction here. If your Mini has a genuine ignition problem, a real misfire, that can affect fuel economy, correct the fault and you can restore what that fault was costing you. That's a legitimate repair, but that doesn't mean my MPG dropped, therefore I need spark plugs. Without service history or diagnostic evidence pointing toward an ignition problem, that's still guessing. So check the history. Are the plugs actually due or overdue? If they are, get them done. That's maintenance the car needs anyway. And if you've got evidence of an ignition problem, a warning light, rough running, or a diagnostic result, now you've got an actual fault worth investigating. What you don't want to do is throw a set of plugs at the car simply because the MPG number moved. Because if they don't solve it, what do you replace next? That's how parts swapping starts. Quick break. If you want to unlock everything your Mini is capable of, check out my Mini ebook. It's packed with maintenance tips, hidden features, troubleshooting guides, money-saving advice that every owner should know. The link is in the description. Number 3, brake drag, and the priority changes here. Fuel economy is now second. Safety is first. If a brake isn't fully releasing, it can remain in light contact while you're driving. That creates resistance. The engine has to overcome that resistance. You're using fuel, wearing the brake, and generating heat where you don't want it. The useful clues are things you can notice from the driver's seat without deliberately touching or testing the brakes. A burning smell after a normal drive. The car pulling to one side. A change in braking feel. A noise that wasn't there before. Or unusual heat that you happen to notice around one wheel. And this is where I don't want you trying to prove the diagnosis yourself. Don't deliberately heat the brakes and then start feeling wheels. Don't jack the Mini up and start spinning wheels by hand. Brake components can become dangerously hot. and a car supported on a jack isn't somewhere to experiment with a braking problem. If you've got those clues, the car needs a proper brake inspection. Because at that point, whatever effect it's having on fuel economy isn't the main question anymore. You need to know why the braking system isn't behaving normally. And we've now crossed an important line in this countdown. The first checks were things you could verify cheaply yourself. From here, we're dealing with problems where diagnosis matters more than guessing at a cheap fix. Number 2, carbon deposits. And this is exactly why you don't want to start spending money before you've worked through the earlier checks. Certain direct injection second-generation mini applications, including N14 and N18 engines, have documented deposit-related concerns. Now, if you've spent any time reading mini forums, you've probably seen carbon deposits discussed as though every one of these engines gets them at a certain mileage and immediately needs cleaning. The evidence doesn't support a rule that simple. It doesn't establish that every one of those engines will have the problem. It doesn't give us one universal mileage when deposits begin. And I can't responsibly give you a fixed MPG loss or promise exactly what you'd recover after cleaning. The price of the work also varies depending on where you are and who's doing it. But here's what is useful. If you own one of those second-generation direct injection cars, deposits are a recognized area for a competent mini specialist to consider during diagnosis. That doesn't mean my MPG dropped, book a carbon clean. It means my MPG dropped, I've ruled out the simple explanations, and carbon deposits are one area that may now deserve investigation. Those are very different conversations. And look at everything you've already done before reaching this point. You've checked the real fuel economy, tire pressure, fuel specification, start-stop, driving conditions, service history, ignition evidence, possible brake symptoms. So if somebody now recommends more expensive work, you're in a much better position to ask, what evidence says my car actually needs it? That's the question that can save you far more than another cheap part. Which brings us to number 1. Number 1, know when diagnosis takes over. Number 1 isn't a part. It's knowing when you've reached the point where guessing needs to stop. And there's a Mini specific example that shows exactly why. Mini has documented internal corrosion of the coolant temperature sensor on certain applications, causing inaccurate readings. The documented symptoms include difficulty starting and/or a service engine soon indication. Now pay attention to the wording there. Certain applications. I'm not telling you every Mini has this issue. I'm not telling you yours has it. And I'm not telling you this sensor fault causes a fuel economy complaint, because the documentation doesn't establish that. So why am I bringing it up? Because it shows you the limit of driveway diagnosis. This isn't something an owner can responsibly confirm by simply looking at the car. It requires proper diagnostic equipment and somebody who understands what those readings should look like on that engine. The same goes for fault codes. A code is evidence. The absence of a code is evidence too, but neither automatically tells you what to replace. That's where a Mini-capable technician earns their money. So, number 1 is knowing when to stop buying parts. If you've checked the inexpensive explanations and they don't account for the change, take the car to somebody Mini-capable and let them investigate it properly. But here's the difference. You're not arriving with, my MPG seems bad, can you have a look? You're arriving with evidence. Think about these two conversations at a service desk. The first, my fuel economy's down, can you have a look? The workshop now starts from almost nothing. Compare that with, my fuel economy's down. I've tracked it fill to fill, and here are the figures. The tire pressures were low, I corrected them, and the number improved slightly, but not enough. Fuel spec is correct for my car. Start-stop hasn't changed. Plugs are within schedule. There's no burning smell, pulling, or change in the braking. My commute hasn't changed, and the drop started before the cold weather. Same complaint, completely different starting point. You've handed the technician evidence instead of one vague symptom. And if none of those inexpensive explanations accounts for the change, that afternoon wasn't wasted. You've already ruled several things out before paying somebody else to start investigating. The technician begins with more information and fewer unknowns. And that's really the answer to the question we started with. When your Mini's fuel economy drops, don't start with parts. Start with evidence. Work through the simple explanations first. Correct the genuine problems you actually find. And if those checks don't explain the drop, stop buying parts and get the car diagnosed properly. That's how you avoid turning a fuel economy complaint into an expensive guessing game. If that way of thinking is useful to you, that's what this channel is for. Helping Mini owners stay ahead of expensive problems instead of reacting to them after the fact. And you've got 2 things you can do straight away. Check your tire pressures against the door placard, then run an honest fill-to-fill fuel economy calculation. Those 2 checks give you a much better starting point than guessing at parts. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss hidden tips, hidden features, and money-saving advice. And if you want the complete guide to get most of your Mini, check out my ebook linked in the description. Click the video on your screen now to keep watching, and I will see you in the next one.